Well, hi friends. Today we're going to talk about listening. This is chapter 3, but in an online course where we are listening when you're reviewing other people's speeches, but it's less emphasized as much as it would be in the classroom. So therefore I moved it later in the process so we could have more time for you to be able to work on your developing your speeches. So that's why it's coming now. Several years ago, oh my gosh, it must have been about 10 or 12 years ago, we had gone to the beach one day and I had been out in the water, and when I came home my right ear was plugged with water, and so you're trying to get it clear for days, and then one day it finally opened up again, but then about a day later I lost my hearing in that ear, or a lot of it, and it never came back, and that's been at least over a decade. The doctor said I probably had a mini stroke in my ear, cut off blood supply to the ear, possibly due to my diabetes, but I've been without that hearing. I've gone to an ear doctor, an audiologist, and they looked at it, didn't see anything in there. Sometimes you get a little tumor in somebody's ear that can cause hearing loss, didn't have that. Tried out for a hearing aid, that didn't help. So it's just kind of an issue that I have to deal with, and I work really hard at being a good to hear speeches and all that, and I do catch everything, but it is a pain in the neck in that if I lay on this side on a pillow I can't hear that well, so I always have to lay it on this side. But anyway, I say all that to help distinguish the difference between hearing and listening. Hearing is kind of the mechanical, physiological process of sound waves being turned into sound noises, sound waves turning into information that we can understand. And how well do we hear? I remember as kids, that your parents would say something and you always go, huh? What? And then if we stop for a second and, paid more attention, we might do better. But listening isn't so much the physiological part as it is understanding what somebody is saying by paying attention. That's the primary aspect of it. And making sense of the things that we hear. What do they mean to us? And we all understand how important listening is, especially in a speech class. And the good news is, while I can't do anything to improve my hearing aid won't work and all that, we can do things to improve our listening and getting more content and understanding when we are listening to other people. So today we're going to talk about how some aspects of listening, and then how can we improve our listening so that we can get more out of what other people are saying. And I'll tell you, if you are a good listener, that is one of the job skills that people are looking for. Somebody who listens, somebody who understands, somebody who pays attention. If you have good listening, you are putting yourself above many people, because a lot of people are not good listeners. So let's talk about being better listeners today. Kind of the flip side of speaking is the listening part. So there are 4 different types of listening, and I have them here on the board for you, if you can see that. Appreciative, empathic, comprehensive, and critical. Appreciative listening is like this. One of my favorite bands from the 70s was Electric Light Orchestra. Some of you have heard them. I know you know some of their songs, even if you haven't heard them. Mr. Blue Sky is one of my favorites, and that was in Guardians of the Galaxy. They play Mr. Blue Sky, and it's in several movies and in commercials and all that. So you probably know them. It's been a year, 2 years, oh my gosh, almost 2 years ago, my friend Dan and my friend Chris and I, all about the same age, we went to an Electric Light Orchestra concert at the Forum in Inglewood. Had a great time. And we just sat there and enjoyed the music. I recorded a little bit of it on my phone, but we had a great time being together and listening to the music. That's appreciative listening. There's no test, there's no follow-up, There's just pure listening for the enjoyment of listening. There's no follow-up about it. So that's appreciative listening. The second type, empathic listening, is where you show care and concern and kindness to others by listening. This would be the example when, let's say, your best friend, they broke up with their significant other, they are brokenhearted, they are in tears, and you sit down with them to listen to their heartbreaking, their sadness, their loss, and all that. And you spend time with them just listening, maybe asking some good questions, but mainly just focusing on listening, letting them know that somebody cares through listening. That's empathic listening. The third type, comprehensive listening, is probably what skills you are using right now, assuming you are watching this video, paying attention to the video, taking notes, trying to understand what I'm talking about. That's comprehensive. This is the lecture style of listening. There is a presenter, you are listening, trying to gather and gain information. That is comprehensive listening. And then the final one, critical listening, and this is really what we are trying to get after today. Critical listening is kind of like comprehensive listening plus. Comprehensive listening on steroids. Critical listening is using critical skills. Remember, we've talked about the idea of critical before. Doesn't, in this case, does not mean negative. It does not mean mean. It does not mean being harsh. It does not mean putting others down. But critical in the sense of listening for the sake of evaluating, critiquing, listening to understand how well the person is presenting, the deeper meaning. Are there any side meanings they are giving in their presentation that they really don't want to? But it is asking questions, debating in your mind, paying attention, full attention, gathering the information that's being presented, but also looking for what else might be there. So you want to make sure you get all the information and be able to feed back that information to the speaker as well to help them become a better speaker. When you are doing your informative speech peer evaluation and your persuasive speech peer evaluation, you were taking it a step up from when you did your the self-introduction speech evaluation of your teammates. When you're doing these, you're really looking not just to gather information, but to be able to feed back information to them that can help them be better. And that's the idea of being a critical listener. So those are the four types. And when we're listening to speeches in a classroom like this, you are looking for to use that critical listening skills. Now, the chapter also then goes through and identifies several reasons why we don't listen well, that we get off track, something goes wrong. And the first one they say is that we're not concentrating. Now, we lead very busy lives. We are in a chaotic phase in our country right now with the COVID-19, with people being out of work and that stress and that anxiety. And it makes things like sitting and listening to a lecture a little bit more of a challenge because we have other things on our mind. So sometimes we don't listen just because we are focused on other things. Another thing that happens sometimes that takes away from good listening is that we are listening too hard. We are looking for every detail and every word and every syllable to make sense to us, and we're taking maybe tons of notes. But we are so focused on the details, we fail to see the bigger picture of what is being said. So you can listen too hard. A third thing is sometimes, and this tends to be I think a character thing, sometimes we jump to conclusions. We think we know what the speaker is saying, we think we know where they're going, and so we kind of jump to a conclusion. Oh, he's going to say this about A. Or he's going to talk about B, and he's going to say this. We already know. The reality is we don't know. But we've already filled in the blanks, and sometimes our own habit of doing that keeps us from truly hearing listening to what the speaker is actually saying rather than what we assume they are saying. Another one is we focus on the wrong things. We focus on hairstyles. We focus on, do you like my beard or not? You know, and you might say, every time he's got that goofy beard and I wish he would shave that thing. So you're not paying attention to what I'm saying, you're focusing on the beard. And you're allowing you like the beard or you don't, possibly, to say, I don't like his beard, therefore I don't like what he's going to say. And you're so focused on what I wear or my beard or my lack of hair or whatever, what am I going to have on the board, that you're not really focusing on what I'm saying. You're kind of prejudging me based on things that you like or don't like about appearance or how I speak. Do I speak too fast? Do I speak too slow? Do I speak too loud? Do I speak too softly? All those other items take away from getting the content of what the speaker is saying. So we focus on the wrong things. So here's how you fix it. Here's how to be a better listener. And some of them are just kind of the flip side of what we just said. The first one they say is you want to take listening seriously. And I think what this means to me is there has to be a point where you say, I am committing myself today to be a better listener. I'm going to do this, this, and this, and it's going to work toward me being a better speaker, but I'm going to make that commitment to be a better listener. I keep saying speaker sometimes, sorry. I'm committing myself now to be a better listener. Are you a good listener? Grade yourself 1 in 10 and say, okay, I'm at a 7. What do I need to do to make an 8, to become an 8 level listener? Just make the commitment and move forward. Second, it says to be an active listener. I am an active listener. I'm good at this. Is one of my things that I'm good at. I listen well most of the time. If I can hear you, I'm doing better. But it means that I'm thinking while you're speaking. I'm asking myself questions. Did he mean this? Was she going to go here with that? I don't draw conclusions, but I'm asking questions. I'm thinking it through. I'm evaluating. Do I agree or disagree? Why do I agree or disagree? So I'm active. I'm not just sitting there passively receiving the information. I'm kind of having a mental dialogue with you while you are speaking. So be active in your listening. Don't just let it wash over you. Do something that makes you more active in the process. Number 3, resist distractions. Now, as I'm standing here right now, I can hear the air conditioning going. I can hear every once in a while the jingle of the dog's collars. I have things going on outside. All of those things, if I allow them to, they can distract me from what I'm doing right here in front of my phone, trying to record this speech, or excuse me, this lecture for your behalf, on your behalf, for your benefit, I'm sorry. And if I allow all those other things to distract me, I might say, so that air conditioner really is annoying. I wonder why that's running all the time. Is it always that loud and I'm missing out what the person is saying? So it's there, it's going, acknowledge it, there's nothing we can do about it, accept it, and you say, but instead of focusing on these things, I'm going to focus on the speaker. And I'm going to give them my best listening skills. So may not be able to ignore them, but you can make a choice to say, I'm going to focus on listening in spite of these other things that are going on. You don't need to pretend they're not there. They're there, but just keep going in your listening. Okay, number 4, don't be distracted by appearance or delivery. And we already kind of talked about the opposite side of that. It's a reason why we don't listen well. So you make a choice. I don't like that shirt. I think that beard's ridiculous. I can't stand the way he always talks like this. Okay, that's fine. But still focus on the content and get what you can out of the presentation. And then you can go back and say, by the way, you need to choose a better shirt or cut off that beard or whatever it is. But don't let those other peripheral items take away from you gaining either information or persuasion from the presentation. Keep the main things the main things. And don't prejudge the speaker. Now, sometimes there is a speaker, somebody's going to present a message, a speech, political message, whatever, and we don't like that person. We don't care for them. We're not going to vote for them. And so we've already judged them to say, I'm not going to vote for them, and therefore, since I'm not voting for them, they have nothing to say that would interest me or benefit me. And so by our prejudging, we do not get anything from that. So what I'm saying is this: don't prejudge. Listen to what the person has to say, gain from it what you can, agree or disagree, whatever you want to do, but at least give the person the benefit of the doubt to hear what they have to say. Evaluate, critique, use critical thinking, but at least listen to what they have to say first before you write them off. Okay, and then the last one is to focus your listening. In other words, when you're going to listen to somebody, have a game plan. And here's one of the big things I think that you can listen for. When you're going to hear a speech, listen for the main points. I always have something to write with and something to write on when I go to hear someone speak. First of all, I want to steal what I can from them. Maybe you want to do the same thing. Illustrations, examples, the way they word things. I steal anything and then try to incorporate it into my own speaking at some other point. But at least listen for their main points. Always, you should be able to walk out of speech saying, what were the main points that they brought to me? Well, they talked about this, this, and this. Write down those main points, 2, 3, 4, 5, however many they had. And probably just by remembering the main points, you'll remember at least some content of what they said under those main points. But that will be a benefit for you to do that. And that will make you a better listener. So take your piece of paper and your pencil, write down the main points of what they say. Don't get lost in the details, just at least write down the main points. You will benefit. It will make you part of the way a better listener. And that's kind of the last thing that actually that chapter talks about. Are you a good note taker? I'm a great note taker. You see, I'm a good listener. I'm a great note taker. And I always take something that I can write down when I'm listening to a presentation. Now, the other thing that I have a benefit to, my wife is a marriage and family therapist. She is an amazing listener. Sometimes I wonder when she's listening to me ramble on about something that she's not just, listening as a professional rather than really caring about everything I might be talking about, because I talk about some really stupid things. But I learned from her and watching her. We've done counseling as a couple with other people, and while she's speaking, I am listening. I'm not necessarily taking notes, but I'm listening to how she listens, and I try to learn from her by having a great model of a great listener as my spouse. So anyway, so those are some thoughts about listening. You got to make a choice if you want to be a better listener, and that's a skill that we can all improve on and keep on improving of being better listeners. Okay. Oh, and then you have an exercise this week. I think it's a great one. You're going to watch a video, actually a TED Talk, by somebody who's going to talk about the role of nonverbal skills and signs to show that other people we are listening. There's a few things that we do that show that traditionally we say these are signs of good listening. Good eye contact, sitting in front of the person with our bodies squared up to them, head nods, and then kind of these nonverbal little grunt things where we go, All of this is information that we are giving to somebody to say, I am paying attention to you. In the video you're going to watch, the question she asks is, or she says, we don't need that stuff. If you're listening, you're listening. But anyway, you're going to write your response to that, And so that's going to be another discussion that you're going to partake in, and then you're also going to respond to others, the responses they post, then you're going to reply to those. So hopefully that is an enjoyable, kind of fun little exercise for you to do this week. All right, that's it for now. Thanks.